From the 20th of August to the 20th of September is the Virgo person, which is a feminine sign. And the Virgo individual, generally speaking, is also rather the nervous type, more or less introverted by nature, very often successful in forms of humanitarian enterprise, especially involving health, as doctors, nurses, therapists, and persons of that nature. They have a great love of helping the sick. Very often Virgo persons, by their natures, being somewhat negative, have a tendency to draw things to them, and they draw problems. They have a magnetic fascination about them, which causes persons weaker or more helpless to move in. This situation often throws the Virgo person into a long-range responsibility program, a program of taking care of, helping, guiding, leading, directing, sustaining, supporting, and holding up somebody. This can become more or less tiresome, and as a result of it, the Virgo individual becomes a little negative, a little disillusioned, a bit pathetic sometimes, and gets a sort of internal feeling that they are being well imposed upon. I have news for them. They are. But at the same time, I've known cases where things were done to put it right, and the Virgo person was utterly miserable because he just couldn't get along except when he was imposed upon. Those were his best moments. Well, if he can handle it without getting sick or getting irritable, nervous, or troubled, all right. But the tendency is for them to absorb into themselves these problems and then spread the problems in the area of their own activity. The Virgo physician has to be careful that he doesn't discover in many of his patients some particular ailment with which he is peculiarly interested. He has a tendency to sort of pass on these things in this way. Virgo persons, being by nature nervous, being by nature perhaps a little unable to control their tendency to sort of chatter along their way of life, should cultivate again as much philosophy as possible, deep values with which to balance mental pressures, and a very broad, tolerant, kindly, relaxed relationship with life. Otherwise, you're going to find too many nervous ailments appearing, too much tendency to fatigue, and a little negative melancholy slowly creeping in to color the life rather drably. They mustn't reach the situation in which they must be busy every minute or miserable. There must be a way of not being quite so busy and at the same time being happy, pleasant, and integrated and adjusted. By this procedure, all things go a little better. The Virgo man, because of the negative endowment which he has received, is apt to be lacking in a necessary degree of aggressiveness for family leadership or for advancement in business, and he is apt to be engaged in some line of activity which does not demand too much creative imagination. Therefore, he needs creative imagination rather than routine to enrich and perfect his life.